everyone, how's it going? Today, let's take a detailed look at the 2014 Mercedes-Benz G63 AMG. And this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the G63. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data, as well as show you a bunch of the unique aspects of the interior as well as exterior. And before we begin, I'd like to extend a big shout out and special thanks to Mercedes-Benz of South Charlotte, located in Pineville, North Carolina, for allowing me to come out and film the very unique 2014 Mercedes-Benz G63 AMG. And so, without further ado, let's go and start her up, let her run. The exterior color is known as Magnetite Black, featuring the premium Diseño exclusive diamond quilted Napa leather interior with AMG sport leather bucket seats, as well as real carbon fiber gracing the doors, dash, and center console. What an amazing sound. The new G63 now features electromechanical recirculating ball power steering versus the G55's hydraulic unit, and a fully modern 4-spoke leather and wood trim steering wheel. While there are a few wood choices to pick from, this one features the black piano veneer, nicely contrasted with satin aluminum trim highlighting the spokes as well as the multifunction controls. The G-Class has always set itself apart by its off-road capabilities. In addition to brake force distribution, it also features a 4-wheel electronic traction control system that can help you regain traction even if only one wheel is able to get a grip. It also features rigid axles, permanent 4-wheel drive with low range, and a limited slip differential. But what really makes the G unique is its 3 locking differentials, located via the silver buttons in the dash, designated 1, 2, and 3, or center, rear, and front respectively, helping to balance torque and traction for off-road scenarios. But we'll delve further into the G63's capabilities in just a little bit. As far as the gearbox, new for the G63 is AMG's Speed Shift 7-speed automated manual gearbox controlled via the unique AMG gear selector in the middle. To activate drive, just put your foot on the brake and pull it back, half a click up for neutral, and then push all the way up for reverse. To put the vehicle in park, just hit the P located right behind the selector. And once you put the vehicle in reverse, your backup camera appears in your new 7-inch LCD display. Amongst the gear selector, you have your windshield deicer, low range activation, and transmission shift controller, composed of controlled efficiency, for the most relaxed, smoothest riding portion of the vehicle and for best fuel economy. It also has the auto start stop feature, which I'll talk about later in the video. Sport mode increases the shift points of the vehicle, while manual mode allows for full manual shiftability via the paddles behind the steering wheel with rev mounting downshifts. All accented in AMG specific embossed leather with an aluminum housing. And so, we're going to flip on the automatic projector headlamps, rear fog lamps, as well as the hazards. Naturally, all 4 windows are fully automatic, with power folding mirrors. Then we'll go and check out the exterior, shall we? The Mercedes G-Class represents a very unique niche market, combining hardcore off-road ability with the handcrafted refinement and luxury you would expect from a high-dollar SUV. It's a member of the seemingly disappearing body-on-frame SUV market, but triumphantly marches forward thanks to record sales and a new dose of performance and refinement. While it may not make sense to some to combine performance and off-road, it's one of those vehicles that you just can't help but appreciate the fact that it even exists in today's market. This uniqueness is what's always given the G-Class its cult following over the years. It's rugged, powerful, and capable, and has never strayed from those three ideals. Since the mid-1990s, the G-Class has moved more towards the luxury side of the off-road spectrum than some of its earlier iterations, but it's still never lost that rugged feel and demeanor. Same goes for styling. The iconic shape and profile has essentially continued unchanged, which is very impressive considering it's the longest produced Mercedes-Benz in history, spanning an incredible 35 years since the first civilian G-Wagon was released in 1979. The G-Class is entirely hand-built under contract for Mercedes by Magna Steyr in Graz, Austria, and has been since 1979. All in all, it takes about 10 days to complete one G-Class. Magna has also produced a few other familiar models such as BMW's X3 and the Mini Countryman. Just like some of the other most iconic cars over the past third of a century, the G-Class has evolved slowly, and when comparing models 20 or 30 years older, you'll see a familiar greenhouse, windshield rags, slab sides, and upright profile. Even more so in the 1990s, you'll see similar interior themes. Of course, the G-Class has evolved ever so slightly since the 463 generation was introduced in 1990, with multiple engines, luxurious interiors, and the addition of AMG variants with subtle styling tweaks to match. In fact, just last year for 2013, it was refreshed once again for a more modern look. These changes include restyled bumpers and a more aggressive front clip with larger air intakes for AMG models that feed the cooling system and intercooler, LED daytime running lamps, revised LED turn signal mirrors, and unique twin-bar AMG grille. The G63 is also wider than the G550 by 4.5 inches thanks to more pronounced fender flares. It also features an all-new, fully modern interior with the latest advances in technology, safety, build quality, and comfort, which leaves previous years in the dust. The new G63 also replaces the outgoing G55 and features a complete powertrain upgrade. Replacing the supercharged V8 of the G55 is a new twin-turbocharged V8 that's now mounted to AMG's SpeedShift 7-speed auto like I touched on earlier, which improves efficiency and performance over the G55's 5-speed auto. Along with the rest of the Mercedes lineup that features this engine, it also gets a standard auto start-stop feature that aids in a 13% increase in fuel economy. So what does the G in G-Class stand for? It actually stands for Geländewagen, which is German for cross-country vehicle. The capabilities relate to the G's military history and the need to be able to attack any terrain on demand. It features 3 locking differentials like I talked about earlier, with a low-range transfer case and a recalibrated 4-wheel electronic traction control system. With full-time electronically controlled 4-wheel drive that splits the torque equally between the front and rear wheels, limited slip-rear differential and rigid axles, it's able to ascend seemingly impossible grades in rocky terrain. The chassis itself is actually a prime and powder-coated ladder frame for increased longevity. It's composed of sheet metal with a thickness up to 4 mm, in addition to solid longitudinal sections and beefed-up cross members. This heavy-gauge frame acts as a protective barrier to key mechanical components below, such as the fuel tank. 2013, the G-Class also saw the introduction of all of the latest safety innovations from adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, as well as parking assist. In regards to wheels and tires, the G63 features unique 5-spoke 20 by 9.5 inch AMG alloys that can be had in either satin black with machined lip or in polished trim, wrapped in 275/50 Yokohama Advan performance tires. Stopping power is provided by 4-wheel, ventilated and cross-drilled disc brakes with newly optional red-branded AMG calipers. The brakes measure 14.8 inches in front with 6-piston fixed calipers and 13 inches in the rear with single-piston sliding calipers. For such a large vehicle, these brakes do wonders in bringing it to a stop in impressive distances. It only takes an average of 113 feet to stop from 60 miles an hour, which is impressive for any vehicle. As far as the suspension, the G63 features solid live axles both front and rear with coil springs, gas shocks, longitudinal and transverse links with stabilizer bar up front. Not to mention a rear limited slip differential and 3 separate locking differentials for off-road use like we touched on already. AMG models also feature adaptive dampers to increase the stiffness a bit over the standard setup on demand. The chassis has also been updated to decrease noise, vibrations, and harshness thanks to revised bushings for the transmission, transfer case, and engine. The capabilities of the G-Class include climbing grades up to 80% depending on the surface, 7.7 inches of ground clearance with more than 8 inches of vertical wheel travel, forwarding depth of nearly 2 feet in both water and mud, in addition to approach and departure angles of 36 degrees in front and 27 degrees in the rear. It can also handle lateral slope angles of 54% or 28.4 degrees of sideways tilt. The differential locks allow for the power to be placed on the wheels with the most traction. Even a single wheel with the most traction is able to move the vehicle forward. Overall length is 187.5 inches with a width of 80.9 inches and a height of 76.3 inches. Total curb weight, depending on how equipped, is around 5,800 pounds with a nearly perfect weight distribution. So let's go ahead and pop the hood. The G63 features Mercedes hand-built AMG M157 twin-turbo 5.5-liter all-aluminum V8 with 4 valves per cylinder, double overhead camshafts, dual variable valve timing, and direct injection. It produces a whopping 536 horsepower at 5,500 RPM and 561 pound-feet of torque between 2 and 5,000 RPM. This translates to 0 to 60 times as low as 5 seconds, with quarter-mile times of 13.5 seconds at 106 miles an hour. Top speed is electronically limited to 130 miles an hour. The G63 gains 29 horsepower and 45 pound-feet of torque over the G55, with improved 0 to 60 times by 0.3 seconds and is half a second quicker in the quarter mile. As I mentioned, thanks to the new 7-speed automatic and standard Eco Start Stop feature, fuel economy is improved by 13%. As far as real-world numbers, with a 25.4-gallon tank and required premium fuel, expect a less than stellar range between 12 city and 14 miles to a gallon on the highway. Another awesome thing about the G in general is its paint. Finished in a special scratch-resistant nanoparticle paint, so if you're off-roading and brush up against a bush, you won't leave with fine marks all over that deep high-gloss finish, helping aid in durability. Like I said before, the newest model G63 features an all-new interior with a level of build quality and refinement never before seen in a G-Class. Everything is wrapped in soft-touch material and accented in either wood or this optional high-gloss carbon fiber with aluminum bits found throughout. And in typical G fashion, you have your electric windows and mirrors up top, 3-person memory and power seat adjustments, as well as your lock and unlock located down below. Good amount of storage, not to mention the optional Diseño diamond quilted leather like I touched on earlier found on the dash, seats, as well as other key interior bits. With the newly updated AMG Sport Leather bucket seats, comfort is better than ever, with plenty of soft padding and support in all of the right places. Heavy bolstering down below as well as up top, hinting at the vehicle's performance nature, as well as perforations across the diamond quilted pattern of the middle of the seats for the heated as well as ventilated function. There's also adjustable headrests and adjustable seatbelts. Absolutely beautiful attention to detail with AMG badging, as well as little storage pockets in front of the seats. Towards the inner portion of the driver's seat as well as the passenger seat are your multi-contour adjustments for both your lumbar as well as your adjustable side bolsters. All you have to do is just twist the wheels and they automatically inflate to your desired needs. Down below, unique AMG illuminated aluminum door sill plaques, as well as Diseño floor mats and aluminum sport pedals. As we continued up the dash, the lower portion is carpeted, while the entire upper portion of the dash is wrapped in hand-stitched Napa leather with a fantastic soft touch. The dash styling has definitely been cleaned up and streamlined a lot more for a much more modern look, but there are some still subtle styling cues over G-Class models over the years, so it still keeps that unique flavor. All nicely finished off with a full Alcantara headliner. So let's go ahead and see if she sounds. It's such an awesome feeling sitting in the G63, feeling that massive engine just rock the vehicle back and forth. what's really cool about the G-Class and really exemplifies the build quality and structural integrity of it is how heavy the doors are for how thick they are. They're really not that thick in reality, but the weight that carries with it, it's probably the most solid feeling panel you'll find in a vehicle in this class, especially when shutting it. Probably the closest thing you'll ever come to actually closing a bank vault for a vehicle. Especially with the window up. The G63 pretty much comes loaded out with every option that you can get for the G-Class lineup, including a premium 12-speaker, 450-watt Harman Kardon Logic 7 digital audio system with 5.1-channel Dolby Digital surround sound. All fed through the newest generation Mercedes command system, a mobile media navigation telemetrics interface fed through a new 7-inch LCD display mounted in the top of the dash. It's a very similar screen to what you would see in a new CLA class and the upcoming C class for 2015. It looks kind of like an iPad mini and definitely very modern. It's all controlled via the command remote controller located in the center console. It's very simple to use with just your simple controls while everything's controlled via the rotary dial. And we'll go through all of those functions in just a little bit. Alcantara lined A-pillars, grip handles, side curtain airbags like I touched on earlier, as well as padded visors. The rear view mirror is auto dimming as standard with garage home link located down below in the 3 buttons. As far as the top stack, it houses your microphone for your hands-free Bluetooth telephone, reading lamps, as well as interior illumination. It's all LED. Not to mention your SOS emergency roadside assistance and your fully automatic sunroof. There's no glass portion, the whole thing just slides back on its own. Also, a little wind deflector will pop up. Now, as far as a little more on how to use the command system, it's really quite simple. All you have to do, like I touched on earlier, is utilize the little command controller in the center console here. Accented in aluminum, you click up, down, left and right, push down for enter, and you can scroll left and right, say like if you were tuned to a radio station. Back button, clear. This button right here turns your screen off. And the solid star next to that just brings up your clock. So the way the command system is organized is in a 3-tier format. So you have the bottom one, like you see here, click up on the wheel, brings up the middle, and all the way up to the main system functions. As far as audio, there's a whole lot of different functionality. Once you're in the audio screen, click audio again to bring up the different options from AM, FM, satellite radio, and HD radio. This system is also hard drive based, so with the music registry you can load up MP3 files to the system. In total, it's around 80 gigabytes of storage, but a lot of that's used for the navigation and other system data. So around 10 gigs or so is actually utilized for the music storage. SD card input, CD, USB, iPod, auxiliary integration, as well as hands-free Bluetooth streaming of audio. Depending on which screen you're in, you'll have different options down below here. This one you can just adjust the volume, as well as your surround sound equalizer settings. But if we were in radio, just click on radio, and it brings up kind of an old school radio tuner, which if you highlight in the middle, you can tune back and forth. So it also shows your station, artist, and song information, HD radio as well as manually entering your frequencies, preset stations, expanding the radio data, change between AM, FM as well as the vehicle's weather band.
Temperature of 30 at Greensboro and 32 at Trolley Durham. It was cloudy with a temperature.
And again, your audio adjustment. But depending on which media option you have selected, it may be just a little bit different here as far as some of the systems you can command. Now if we go on up to navigation, it brings up your map. If you hit it again, it'll bring up the different options from your route settings, avoiding specific areas as well as navigation information. If you highlight the middle, you can make it full screen, high-res display, also with real-time traffic update. Click it again, bring up the menus again, and down below, searching your points of interest, your traffic information, current position, as well as your destination input. All pretty simple. System's pretty quick to respond to commands. Your hands-free Bluetooth telephone, it'll automatically ask you to pair it. You can store messages, contacts, voice dial, and it also has a text message system to where it'll read text back to you in case you get it, so you don't have to take your eyes off the road. The system is also DVD compatible, so you can load up movies and play them on the system. The system screen shows your analog clock, clock set, as well as some of the customizable options. Turning the display off here if you didn't want to use the button in the command stack. And the little world icon to the far right, so you can stream internet radio, load up Mercedes-Benz apps, which is an optional feature, Sirius real-time weather updates, of course based on location, with weather maps, extended forecasts, owner's manual, as well as accessing the internet. But in a nutshell, those are all the basic features of the Mercedes command system in the new G63 AMG. As we come down the carbon fiber accent center console, you have your differential locks like I touched on earlier, in-dash CD changer, your SD card input, as well as accessing the various command settings if you didn't actually want to use the wheel in the system itself, including an on and off hook button for your telephone. Your dialing pad located over there also doubles as your preset stations for the radio. 3-stage heated, as well as ventilated seating. Traction settings. A standard eco mode now, it's a standard start-stop feature, so if the vehicle ever comes to a full stop at a stop sign or a stoplight and you have that system active, it'll actually shut the engine off automatically, momentarily, until you let your foot off the brake and get ready to go, and it automatically reignites so you take straight off, saving a little bit of fuel. And turning on and off your parking sensors down below there. In the bottom of the center stack is a standard dual-zone electronic automatic climate control system. Very easy. Temperature adjustments side to side. It also shows up in your command screen. Fan speed at the bottom, different zones, front and rear defrost, AC, one-touch automatic, and recycling. The carbon fiber work is absolutely breathtaking in person. Very high gloss and nicely finished. Very good quality. Small storage tray up front, your transmission controller, leather wrapped e-brake, as well as a lighter and door power outlet. Continuing all the way back is a leather padded center console, also locks in place with a good amount of storage, and also houses all of your media inputs. So USB, auxiliary, iPod integration. If you have an iPhone 5, you have to get one of those 30-pin adapters. But good sized space. As far as the steering wheel, your multifunction controls side to side consists of your driver info system to the left, as well as your radio controls, hands-free telephone, and voice commands to the right. Help.
For which navigation functions do you want help? Enter destination, save destination, route guidance, points of interest, map, all navigation functions, or voice controllable devices.
Cancel.
Cancel.
It's a nice pleasant voice, and depending on which screen you're in, you can basically control everything from the radio to navigation from this unit, and it'll list the system commands for that particular screen so you can study up on it and be more familiar with it over time. As far as the driver info system, just using the little directional pad to the left of the steering wheel, you can go through the different options from your trip computer, navigation, audio, telephone, similar to what you would find in the command system, drive assist, including your blind spot monitoring as well as the adaptive cruise, service reminders, personalizable options, as well as an AMG setting that shows your current gear, digital speed readout, as well as some vehicle data, including launch control where you can check lap times on a track. Such amazing to detail. Like I said, the dash, upper and lower portions are actually wrapped in Nappa leather, just like the seats, with wonderful stitching. That's an LED indicator for the parking sensors up front, while the rear also has one back there, so in addition to the backup camera, you can also have an idea of how close something is to the front of your bumper. Alrighty. So let's go and check out the rest of the vehicle, shall we? The back seat's also a pretty cool place for the G, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Everything is nicely padded and mimics the front, with the diamond quilted pattern across the doors as well as the seats. The rear windows are also tinted for better rear passenger comfort. They're also heated, 3-stage, with a little ashtray and or storage compartment. The seats can also fold completely flat if you need a flat loading space for more cargo. AMG aluminum door sill plaques. Cup holders down below. And beautiful attention to detail with the leather. Now, something that I really like about the G-Class is the really tall seating position for the backseat occupants. You basically just hoist yourself on in. The doors have that same solid, reassuring thud as the front. And what you have is a really cool perspective over the front seat occupants. What I mean is, I'm 5'11", and I can clearly see over this passenger side headrest, even though it's raised up a little bit. I can see over the hood. I mean, I can see everything. It's very open back here. And what that allows is it gives the backseat passengers a little bit more of an engaged feeling, depending on if you're just going on a vacation. It's very open, no feeling of claustrophobia or anything like that. But if you're going on an off-road adventure, which the G-Class is perfectly capable to do, you can see everything that's going on. There's no surprises at all, and it's actually could be quite exciting, I think. As far as realistic space, depending on the height of the front occupants, the G-Class can be a more intimate cabin if it's not small, but I'm 5'11", like I said, and with a comfortable seating position for someone of my height up front, I probably have, let's say, maybe around 4 inches or so of headspace and roughly that of leg space, maybe just a little bit more. There's not a whole lot of travel as far as putting your feet under the seat because there is some hardware and air conditioning vents down below. So basically, right here is basically what you get. You can stretch out a little bit here. There's no armrest in the middle, but it's fully capable of seating 3 people back here with a full-size third headrest. The back of the seats do have a little bit of a cutout. There's 2 vents right here that actually pull the air in for the cooling function of the front seats. Storage pocket down below there. There's a 12-volt power outlet down below, as well as 2 cup holders. Your illumination as well as reading lamps are located up top, as well as grip handles and coat hooks. So it's definitely a cool place to sit if you ask me, with adjustable headrests and adjustable seat belts. So let me give you a quick first-person perspective on some things. So let's go and check out the rest of the vehicle, shall we? Open up the large, heavy rear door of the G-Class, and you'll find a very impressive 75.1 cubic feet of maximum cargo space for the back. Also, some diamond quilted accent across the door with a rear window defroster. The seats, like I said earlier, can fold down if you need a little bit more space, and there's also a cargo cover for a little bit more privacy in the back. Not to mention, anchors down below if you need to tie down your cargo, and an extra power outlet off to the side. Same power adjustments, including 3-person memory for the passenger side. As well as all of the bolstering and lumbar settings. Fold-away cup holder. Carbon fiber is also inlaid into the grip handle. Locking glove box with 2 cup coasters and a modest amount of space. 2-tier. There's nothing quite like a G-Class. With robust styling, aggressive performance, and amazing off-road skills, it's no wonder why it's continued to this day. The G63 is a rare breed itself, and a demonstration of the limitless capabilities of AMG. While it may not be the most practical or efficient way of traveling, it by far has to be one of the coolest. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the 2014 Mercedes-Benz G63 AMG. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.